Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Holdren. I'm from American College of Healthcare Sciences, and I'm going to be talking today on using Get It Quick videos to promote student learning, which is something I've been working on since the fall. So let's get going here. So today what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a little meet and greet and go over introductions. Then I'm going to talk about why would you use instructor-made videos. We probably know, but anyway, we're going to go over that. I'm going to do an overview of my college and our math courses and talk about how I was originally using my videos, my idea to make these Get It Quick videos, the results I've seen and my student reactions, and then my recommendations going forward. And then we'll have time hopefully at the end for sharing and questions again. So I'd like to launch a Zoom poll just to get us an idea of what we're doing right now and who we are. So let me get that going here. Let's see. I think the poll should be going up, but there's just 3 questions there. So I'll give you like a minute or so to answer those. Is it showing up on your end?
You could go pop into the group, but also make sure you have your timer set for 9:30.
I think some folks need to mute themselves. There's some background noise.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback. If you don't mind, you can unmute if you need to ask a question.
You like that one, Gio? Yeah, I like that. I'll put it down like that. Jungle Book is still Autumn's favorite. There you go.
2 more to vote.
Winnie, can you mute yourself?
1 more to vote. There's 13 of us here apparently. That might be me. Oh, there we are. Okay. Let me end the poll and see here. All right, so let's take a look at the results here. We are 85% community college instructors, and we have an administrator, 1 4-year. We are teaching a variety of classes. That's pretty split. Nobody's doing statistics. You are seeing this, correct? The results? Okay. And then in which type of classes? We have some traditional hybrid, a lot of synchronous and asynchronous online, and flipped and other. What's the other? I was curious.
I'm retired, so I'm not teaching right now.
Okay. That makes sense.
I didn't know what else to do.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'd like to just let you go into breakout rooms. I think since there's 13 of us, maybe 3 of them sounds reasonable. Let me do that. And what I'd just like you to do is introduce yourself just so that we can get some of the real stuff that we would do at a conference. You know, you'd be meeting people and talking in little groups.
All
so
right.
we try that. So let me just see here. Breakout rooms.
Okay.
Right, so you're gonna get like
tell Sherry
3
hi
minutes.
and bye. Okay.
Let me do 1 more here.
Bye. You bet.
All right, so they'll have 3 to 4 in a room. I'll try to visit you if I can. But just introduce yourself, say what you're doing with your videos, and then I'll bring you back very shortly. So let's go on. Let me get talking about us and getting into the presentation here. So why use instructor-made videos? Personalized content for your courses. It allows asynchronous access for students. And that's particularly useful when I tell you a little bit more about myself and my college. It's great for online courses since it gives students a chance to see you. They don't have that interaction otherwise. If you do a flipped classroom, you can provide content before the class meets. If you're doing hybrid learning, you can supplement your in-class learning. It sets the context. You can set up an assignment or a project or a discussion, and it's kind of nice to have that video recording of it because the students, you know, if they're not sure about after they've heard the directions in class, they can go back and they have a very set out way to do that. You can provide individual student help and feedback. Sometimes I get questions from students that they send me an email and then I'll make a little recording to send back to them, which I think they find helpful. And if we're going to tie this into our ORMATYC concepts, you can make an impact on your students. And if you haven't been to their ORMATYC website lately and checked out their impact document, it's improving mathematical prowess in college teaching. And I wanted to just touch on what our videos can do in terms of that, in terms of the prowess. So for proficiency, the videos allow students the opportunity to gain mathematical understanding. They can see multiple representations of mathematical ideas and connect mathematics to their real lives. And I know this is what we also try to do in our classes, but videos capture that as an indefinite and ongoing, ongoing record of that. They have ownership. Videos are a great way to foster curiosity and buy-in from students. We really need their buy-in in order for them to kind of get out of the class what we want and learn the material. So we want them to be vested in what they're learning. We want to engage them. So videos are a way that our students, that's how they react. And they're always, video is the now and the media of now. So our students definitely relate to those. They can watch them multiple times if they need to. That helps students with various, I have students with dyslexia and other learning disabilities, and they find being able to go back and pause and think about it when they're watching a video very helpful. So it definitely helps students with a variety of learning styles, and it allows them to connect with you and the course material. And all those together promote student success. If we can get the students buying in, understanding the material, seeing connections, then they're going to be more successful in our courses. So I wanted to start out here with this little brief video, which is a little get a quick video to talk about what my college is about. So here we go. I think hopefully this will work and the bandwidth is all good. Maybe hoping. So welcome to Get It Quick, where we're going to discuss about ACHS, which is American College of Healthcare Sciences, and our math courses. So we are an online accredited private college with 30 faculty and about 900 students, of which we have about 17% that are full-time. We offer associates, bachelor's, and master's programs in integrative health and wellness. We also do certificates and diplomas, and we actually are launching micro-credentialing, and we have a new MBA program that focuses on sustainability. So our students are this is very different than your typical community college. Our students are very focused on what particular subjects they're learning. Our student body includes working healthcare professionals, lifelong learners, first-time students, and veterans. And most of our students are somehow already working in holistic healthcare or aspiring to do so. We have students from across the US and from countries around the world, and we use a 15-week semester system. So we have semesters in the fall, spring, and summer. We use Canvas and Zoom, and we're predominantly asynchronous. We do have meetings once a week with our students in a class setting, but the students volunteer their time if they're available. Otherwise, we record the Zooms and those are posted in the classes. So we are completely an online college. There's no in-person classes. Our math courses are quantitative reasoning 1 and 2, and they're part of our gen ed courses for our associates and our bachelor's degree. We use Newton and we use OpenStax for the text in our courseware. And most of our students, again, are part-time in either associate or bachelor's. And what I've done is I've included the courses over here, just you can see the scope of courses that they're taking as their gen ed courses. And I am the gen ed coordinator for the college. I've been working for them since 2019. I was originally taught in Florida for 26 years. I was at 2 different colleges there, and I moved out here in 2016. And I taught temporarily at Mountain Hood Community College before landing this job here, where I'm the gen ed program chair as well as the math instructor. So let's get out of that, and then we'll go back over here, and we want to be there. So I apologize that didn't come out as a video. I had made a little cute video to demonstrate what one was. Anyway, so moving onward, my original video usage. So again, we meet with students 1 time a week. We have a modular system where we have 7 modules that are 2 weeks long. So I would meet with the students once a week. But the thing is, most of the students don't come, particularly to the math classes. They're more likely to show up in their aromatherapy or biology type classes or their nutrition classes. They seem to have a lot better attendance live than I do. And I send out emails at the beginning of the term saying, hey, when are you available? They send their information back, and then you get 1 or 2 people at most, and most of the times none. So what I was doing is recording my videos for the whole week. And that's a lot of content. So I tried to, keep it minimum, but at the same time, if you're doing a whole week's worth of content in one session, it tends to be a little bit longer. And what I found out is that students really weren't watching my videos. So this is basically the gist of what I was saying. So when I got done with the videos, what we do we have Canvas, and we have a product called Studio that's embedded. And what's nice about that is you can upload your video. You can add the captions you can get from Zoom, but you can add captions through there. And you can post it in what's like a discussion board. So students can make comments, and it marks on the video where they're making their comments. And it's all fun and dandy if people are watching it. But that wasn't what the case was. So this is some data about the watching of my videos. And we were able to capture this through Canvas here. And I'm not sure if it works in other systems or whatnot, if others of you are using Studio, but this screen here just shows you this is a video that I would have had posted in my course and the viewers. And you can look at the insights and see the viewers. And you can see here 2 students were watching this video. One watched all of it, and the other one was skipping around from piece to piece. So if you take a look at my 2 classes, this is from prior to my doing the Get It Quick videos. We had maybe 2 students, 3 students. I had 6 there in that Math 201 class, the very first video, and then it kind of tapered off. So the videos kind of ranged anywhere from 16 minutes up to looks like 44 or so minutes. And they're not being very watched. And Newton, if anybody's familiar with Newton, it does have instruction in it, but when you go right into Newton, it starts giving students questions. And then if they want the help, they can go into the help section. The videos were intended to set students up to get the material, understand, practice. I'd have them, do practice problems throughout the video. I would do problems, and hopefully they were going into, Newton being better prepared. But if you're not watching the videos at all, then you kind of aren't getting that preparation and whatnot. And they're also not, getting to see me and interact with me that much. So what I decided to do is, I thought about, what do I need? I want to have something that's better. I've talked to some of my other colleagues at the college. We only have the 2 math classes, so I'm the math instructor. So I was talking to other people, and I was just like, I need to get them to watch. So making them shorter was my key concept too. So I wanted as short as possible. I wanted to, in order to do that, I thought, well, hey, I can match one to each of the Newton lessons because they're in little subsections. I wanted to highlight the key concepts and show examples of the Newton problems. And I wanted to make sure that students were trying them. So I did this originally, but I want to pause and have, remind students, pause your video and try the problem. I think that's how they get the best use out of them. Demonstrate the Newton tools. Newton, there's a learning curve on any new software that students use, and there's a graphing feature in there, and they have to learn how to move the points around, that sort of thing. And I was also showing them how to use their Desmos for calculators. Most of our students don't come with any calculator at all, and Desmos seems to be the best thing out there. It's definitely, WYSIWYG, what they can see. And I've had a lot of compliments of students like, but this makes it so much easier. So I'm glad they find that. And I like to do multiple representations, and having slides, and doing presentations, you can get all that stuff in there. And then I also like to tie the content to real life. And this is a biggie at my college. They don't necessarily, with a lot of community college, students don't necessarily want to be taking math classes. They need to take them for their degree. The more I can tie the content to their holistic healthcare stuff, the better off it is and the more buy-in I get. So I wanted all that stuff in these videos. So beginning in the fall of 2020, I was kind of right at the beginning of the term, I came up with this idea that this isn't working, I need to change. And I went into action. I decided I was going to try to do these videos for both my classes, which was quite an undertaking. So I was recording for the next module and the module before it. So I didn't have them for the first module, but once we got to module 2, those were done and ready to go. And because I did them quickly, I am now going back and like looking at which ones I'd like to change and whatnot. This is just a picture of what one of the videos look like. What's nice about when we put these into Canvas is that you can change the random screen that it normally puts them up to whatever you want to put for the thumbnail. So this picture here is just my first PowerPoint slide. I try to make them cute so that students, aren't afraid, try to lessen the being afraid of math part about it. And made them shorter, as short as possible. And my goal would be to keep going back and seeing if I can make them more and more concise. So in my weekly Zooms that I do with my students, what I do now is I concentrate on an overview of what the week's assignments are. I highlight any questions. Students will send me emails, or if the question comes up, I'll highlight student responses. And if any students come, we have more of a, getting to know each other and feeling more comfortable with math kind of atmosphere. I still post these in the classroom, but they're also shorter. They're not as long as they used to be. So in theory, I haven't really looked at the data to see if they're watching these that much, but as much as they were before, but they're more likely to, being that they're short. And by the time I got done with the term, I was ready for the spring term, where I was able to have them already in the course going forward. And at this point, I'm going back and looking at them to see how they're fitting, and and if I can consolidate them. If some of them, I have a student, because they can post these comments, I had a student catch an error on a screen that I can go back and now fix. So that's kind of stuff that, I haven't watched all the videos from front to end, but as students are watching them, they see these things, and then I can say, hey, yeah, you're right, that is awesome that you caught that. And they kind of feel real proud of themselves. They caught the teacher in the error there. Anyway, oops, I went ahead here. So these are the results that I got in terms of differences. So on the right is the old video thing. So my new videos, couple of them are a little longer in terms of 14 minutes, but it's still shorter than the ones on the other side there. And my watching has definitely gone up in terms of percentage wise, pretty much doubled in overall the amount of students. It's still not all of them. I'm still trying to come up with ideas of what I might do differently to really get them going on watching the videos, other than unplugging them. But the thing is, word is, when they take the first class and they go to the second class, they saw that the videos were really helpful in the first class, and then more of them are watching them actually in the second class, which is the case. To look at the Math 201, you can see here the numbers there are even more so increased. There are different numbers of students. There was only 10 in the class that I had this spring compared to 16, but if we look at the percentages, you can see that I had a couple weeks there in module 6, they weren't even watching the videos when we were in the last spring. Whereas over here, I'm having students watching the videos at some points, 50% of the class, which is awesome in my opinion. So I think I'm going to keep trying to plug these right at the beginning of the term in order to get students to buy in. I guess the more I can do that, the better off they are. But I'm really pleased with the results, because they are watching them, and I want to look further at this to see if the students in terms of are spending less time in Newton, because I have to go in, and that's a lot of data. I'm doing a presentation at ORMATYC. I got selected to do one, so I'm going to revise this and go further with it. So I want to try to see if there's any change in how little spending less time working in Newton if they're watching the videos. Which is kind of an undertaking, finding, because you have to track each student, it's 2 different things. So hopefully I'll be able to get that before ORMATYC. So this is some responses at the end of the term. My last discussion in the classes just asked students about their experience in the course, if they have any suggestions for other students. I have a math wisdom wall where I take quotes and I put them it's an ongoing thing. I kind of update it each term so that the next students coming in can see the wisdom wall. But these are all the comments. I'm not going to read them to you, but what stands out is there's a lot of caps in there. I like this lifelines and definitely watch the videos. And I didn't ask them about the videos in this question. It was just a general question, but this is comments, and this classes aren't all that big. So I was really pleased with the number of students that made comments about it. It made me feel all that effort was going, is worth it. But yeah, it's one of the main things that they're advising future students to do. So I think that's really positive in terms of the video things. So I have a lot of recommendations in general. Start small. I think what I do is kind of overwhelming because I was making videos all the time, and you have to, in order to do them, you want to make them good. So you have to make PowerPoint well, and all it's just, yeah, start small. Keep your videos as short as you can. There's actually a lot of research out there that I've been looking into. These are called micro lectures. And they're the way to go, especially, with our students when they're watching these, video things that they're online. Short is better. It keeps their attention. They don't have a lot of time. That's, if you ask our students, why aren't you watching the video? That's what you normally get, that they don't have time that in their lives, especially to attend the live Zoom sessions. If they have 3 classes and they're also working full time, it's hard, and they only have so much bandwidth. I came up with the Get It Quick. They seem to like that. I think a catchy title doesn't hurt. It can only, encourage them to watch it. When you're making the videos, be excited. I've watched some videos on math stuff online, and sometimes you're like, why would I even watch this? The person talking isn't animated. So as much as you can do that is better. You want to be visible in the recording. I know it's nice to hide and have your screen with just your name and whatnot, but this is your chance for your students to see you. You can re-record them. You can edit the videos if you have editing tools. I usually just restart over again because they're short. That's kind of nice. You can just restart, do it again. And I think the students they feel more comfortable contacting me when they see me in the videos, and, they're, hi, Professor Lori, all that. I get a lot more, I think, students contacting me and not being as afraid to ask questions. Connect the content to real life, especially if you do that, you're going to have students with more buy-in, and they tend to learn more when they're, vested in their learning. Interact with the content. I have done several things. I do use PowerPoint, but I like to write on the slides. So I have a tablet, a Wacom tablet that I can write on the slides with. Students like that because then they're following along with what you're doing. You can also just have the PowerPoints. Sometimes I've had issues with it not writing well with my tablet. So sometimes I animate just putting one line of working out a problem, and I hit it like this screen is here, where it shows up in the next step, just so they have time to process the one step before you go on to the next step. I think that makes it a little bit easier. And that's what's going on when you're handwriting it. And then use multiple representations and graphics, anything to catch their eye. They're in a very busy world visually in terms of what they do in their media. So you want to kind of go along with the flow. You want to remind students to pause the video and try problems, especially if they're not, live. Pause your video, try this problem, and then resume your video. And I think I do that every single time I do a problem, and there's not that many problems in any particular video, but I think that helps them. And the students that do that are going to be more successful once they get into Newton or whatever program that they're using for their math work. I think it's nice to have a thumbnail on the screen. It makes things look a little bit more professional. What it does when you just get them with Zoom, if I just were to upload a video here, it would have the screen, a random screen, and I'm like, kind of weird picture of you, and there's some screen from the middle of the video. Whereas here, it looks like it's, semi-professional, and that's just a PowerPoint screen. You can take PowerPoint and save the, if you export the slides, you can export them as JPEGs. So you can do that. It's very easily to do that, to do the, get the JPEG to put up there. Always enable captions, whatever program you're using. Here we can I know that Zoom will give you the caption, give you a document with that, but here you can do whatever language. I've had students, we have sometimes students in foreign countries where English isn't their first language. You can actually take and do the captions in more than one language. And if they want to watch it in their language, they can. So that's useful. It does a pretty good job of words that aren't math. I always like to look at the captions, and you can edit them ahead of time to see if, if there's some really strange words that they've translated wrong. You can do that. And you want to subscribe to the comments. I didn't realize that I'm subscribed globally to various discussions and stuff, but it's not letting, I didn't know it wasn't letting me know that you need to subscribe to comments, and students would put a comment in there and I'd go back and just checking, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a comment. I didn't know about that. So you have to actually turn that on for each of the videos. And the insights are very useful to see who's watching it. And that's particularly helpful if you're taking students, students emailing you or wanting to get for help and you want to help them, and then you go and you are going to meet with them. I like to look and say, hey, you haven't been watching the, I show them, hey, did you note about these videos? I show them the videos. I'm like, did you know these were here? Because sometimes even though you've said all this, they really didn't check it out. And you can actually, when you're one-on-one with them, take them in there, show them, and they're like, oh, wow, there's a video. Yeah. So it's a good thing to check your insights to do that. And just keep encouraging students to watch the videos. So I think we're at it near the end here. So we have our 10 minutes for comments and whatnot. I know I was going on there.
Not a lot going on in the chat. I
Okay.
did have a question.
Sure.
I know that some of my colleagues do videos and they actually have the students pause, and then they are assessed. Like when you're having them try to work out the math problem, can you have it maybe a little quiz in Canvas where they would
Sure.
have to throw their answer, and then that almost makes them have to watch the video. I don't know if that's what you would want to intend.
That's a good idea.
So anybody else has comments?
I hope this at least incites you. I don't know. It certainly made I'm very pleased, because I felt bad when they're not, you go through the trouble of recording those sessions and they're not watching them. It just makes you not feel all that effort isn't worth it. And now I at least feel that the effort's worth it, because I'm affecting some students. And I would love to be affecting all the students, but that may come with time.
Well, I make some of my videos like assignments, and they have to watch them, they like it or not. And of course, I realize some of them can just submit without watching. But many times when they start watching, they just got involved and watch it to the end. So it's like assignment, part of their grades. And I have big percentage of participating. I have no, well, I guess I can see how much time they spend on each video, but I'm not going to do any policing work here. I just doing my best, try to engage them. But that's what I did with my videos, made them assignments and kind of like forcefully ask them to watch them, so to speak.
I know when I taught in Florida, we used Blackboard and Collaborate, and Collaborate actually recorded that you could easily get who was watching. It actually could automatically go to the gradebook if they watched at least 50%. They didn't know that, but as long as they watched 50%, it would record a grade to the gradebook. So I know some systems out there actually do that. So I guess depending on what your college does, it might, it might be something to look at in terms of giving credit for watching them. It doesn't have to be a large part of their grade. That's a discussion my colleagues and I have been having in general about trying to get students to watch the Zooms, because we don't have any synchronous component of the class. And that's kind of what's replacing it. And we do have, by our accreditation, we want substantial interaction between faculty and students with students. And discussion boards go some to that, but we want more than that. So this is a way of that happening. And if they're not interacting, then that isn't really going towards that.
So there's a question in the chat. Do you use PowerPoint to record your videos?
I use Zoom to record the videos, but I use PowerPoint in the Zoom sessions. So they're all PowerPoints that I do ahead of time, just because the math especially, you know, writing math equations, I want to have the equation there or the problem that if it has math symbols in it, it's easier to just get it ahead of time. And actually, when you're making the PowerPoints, that's probably the most time consuming thing is typing in some of the math equations. We have a financial math component of both those courses, the quantitative reasoning, and then we get into the really complicated exponential formulas in the second course. And they're just nasty because they're, you know, complex fractions and radicals and whatnot, exponents and stuff. So anyway,
Have
yeah.
you ever thought about, so two things. One, so Wendy and I, Wendy's who asked that question. So we've used PowerPoint to do ours, and we actually, there's in PowerPoint, there's a recording feature, and you can record yourself going slide by slide, and you can use like a tablet to write on the PowerPoint. So that way you don't have to have the math already typed out. And it's great where if you make an error or need to redo something, instead of having to redo the entire video, you can just go to that one slide and redo that one slide.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. And then the other thing, so we flip our classes and then we also teach online. So the way that one of the ways that we found really helps getting students to watch those videos is to have a video notes that goes with it. So it's kind of like a skeletal thing of notes where we'll have the examples already written down there, but then to the working out part of it, like the steps, they have to fill in, and that's worth 5% of their grade. So that's a really good way to get them to see the buy-in, because you're showing that there's value in watching the videos because you're giving it a point value for your grade. And then it also holds them accountable to fully watching those videos, because the only way they can get all of that worked out is by doing that. And then for your dev students, it's huge because they're usually so bad at taking notes, and it really helps them have a really good resource to look back on as they're studying. So just a little tip, and you can do that with PowerPoint pretty easily. We just took our PowerPoints and we made them into the notes file. We just didn't have any of the annotations when we wrote on the PowerPoint slide show up on the notes file.
Does it show are you able to be on the screen too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Lori, if you want, you can send either Wendy or I an email. We teach a all-day class, a 2-day full workshop over this at PCC that anyone's welcome to join, but we can send you a recording of the PowerPoint part and how to make videos. It'll probably make your life a lot easier too. But I love everything you just shared. It's totally, I agree with all of it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another question about Zoom from the chat. How are you ever in a situation where you can't keep the recordings? So I know that for us that the recordings are only stored for 100 days once you make them. I know.
Oh, I always download them to my computer, and then we have to upload them to this studio program, which is, I think it's an extra thing they pay for. It's outside of Canvas.
Correct.
You upload them to Studio, and then once they're in Studio, I think they're there until I don't know if we have a space limit, but right now it's not an issue that they're there indefinitely, so you can use them in other courses. But I always download them to my computer because yes, our Zoom the cloud is limited. They usually just take them out, I think once a semester or once every 2 semesters. They actually remove them from there because there's not enough space for everybody at the college to do that, even though we're small.
Yeah, we have a similar situation. If you wanted to save it, you have to definitely save it to your computer or to your own space.
Yeah. So I think we're almost out of time here. Let's see if this will start working there again. I have found a couple of online resources I can share with you. And I can certainly email this PowerPoint to anybody that wants the PowerPoint. You can actually watch my Get It Quick video. I'm disappointed that didn't work. I spent some time yesterday trying to get that little, I know it was only 3 slides, but it was a good demo of a Get It Quick. But now at least I know that it may or may not play in a Zoom session. Hopefully at ORMATYC, if I do something like that, it will be able to play. But you can reach me at my email here, loriholdren@achs.edu. I'm really pleased to have all you here in attendance today. I know everybody has time and you have to pick which one to go to, but after they said there weren't presiders, I was a little worried that I wouldn't have any attendees, but it's really exciting that you're here. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Lori. That was awesome.
Thank
Okay,
you.
well,
Yeah,
enjoy
thank
the rest
you.
of your day.
Yeah. I gotta say hi to Virginia.